Hello. I'm going to talk to you for a few minutes now about setting and characterization in stories. Basically, a story has to happen somewhere and at some time, and it has to happen to someone. The way a writer answers these questions of where and when and who can give us important clues about what the writer wants the story to say. Thus, we help ourselves as readers when we pay close attention to the elements of setting and characterization as we read. Looking closely at these elements can help us get from a story what the story wants to give us. We can read in the most effective ways when we look closely at setting and characterization. Let's start by thinking about setting. A story's setting can often tell us what to expect from the story. For example, when we learn that the events in the movie Star Wars take place a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, we can expect a kind of science fiction fairy tale. The galaxy lets us know that we're in space, science fiction territory, but at the same time, this happens a long time ago, far, far away, almost as if we're saying once upon a time. So the combination of these elements gives us the expectation that the movie itself fulfills by giving us that science fiction fairy tale. We can experience the story accurately by paying attention in this way to its setting. We might notice also how this excellent phrase sets the story of Star Wars in time and also, as I was saying, in space. Noticing this reminds us of the importance of both when and where a story happens. Two stories might both happen in a high school, but a story from 1957 would probably differ in many ways from a story in 2025. Time makes a difference as well as space does in a story. The where and the when matter to a story's meaning. Looking in this way carefully at all aspects of setting helps us read these stories in the most effective and useful way. We can also help ourselves as readers by observing how a writer uses characterization. The way a writer describes characters can help us understand what the writer wants us to take away from a story. Now, generally, we see two kinds of characters in most stories. We think of characters as either round or flat. A round character usually shows various aspects of itself over the course of the story, and also tends to change in some way as the story continues. On the other hand, a flat character tends to have just a few aspects and not change very much over the course of the story between the start and the end. Round characters generally work to keep our attention. They provide the interest in a story, while flat characters generally serve to move the plot forward or state what the author wants to have stated in a story. To go back to Star Wars as an example, we might think of Anakin Skywalker as a round character and C-3PO as a flat character. Skywalker starts as an innocent child and slowly over the course of the story becomes the very embodiment of evil. C-3PO starts as a droid and ends up as a droid. So by paying attention to this difference, to the contrast between round and flat characters and what this means about what the author wants to say, we can look more closely at characterization as a further element that we can use to determine what a story wants to say to us. So, I hope this lecture has given you some ideas about how to, as you continue looking at literature, look at setting and characterization in what you read. Don't forget that anything a writer tells us, any kind of information we're given, adds to our understanding of a story. It adds to our ability to take in the literature the way that works best for the writer and for us. I hope this lecture has given you some opportunities to practice those reading skills. And of course, as always, thank you for your time and attention.